A brilliant documentary from the inside out, the inside of the Collingwood Football Club, and Nathan Buckley, AFL Hall of Fame, one of the game's greats and the coach of the Magpies. Always good to see you, Bucks.
Brilliant. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. And,
well done.
Well, it's great, mate. Very open, very vulnerable version of yourself. And, kick away from a premiership, you must be really proud 12 months later to be back inside the top four. It's a great effort.
Thank you. And, it's been a... as far as the season this year goes, same win-loss, slightly a couple of % down on last year. 15 less goals against. So as a defence, we feel like we've actually improved. But yeah, and in a very similar position going into a qualifying final. But it's a whole new year.
And the health of the group compared to last year, where would you put that?
About the same. Yep. Maybe a little bit better. So we've had our challenges over the last sort of 6-7 months, but I would say that we're in reasonable nick. We've definitely played better football in August, through the August period, than we did last year. But as I said, I'm talking about last year. Yep. Last year's irrelevant. Yep. It really is about what happens in the next 4 weeks.
You're comfortable? Dugai hasn't played for a while. Stevenson obviously hasn't played for a while. You're comfortable bringing both those blokes back in for a big final?
Well, Steve-O's trained up amazingly well. Yep. Geordie's always been a good first-up player, a fresh player, so I think, and Steele, is the ultimate professional. Yeah. So he'll find every way possible to get himself up.
What about Darcy Moore? We had a good chat about him before. I noticed your comments were a little bit, confusing a little bit for us.
Were they?
Well, it sounds like nothing's shown up on the scan.
Yeah, well, I didn't have the scan results at the time when I gave that interview, and the results are clear.
So there's nothing shown up on the screen.
So I expect Darcy to train through the next 2 weeks and play next Friday week, and he would expect to do the same.
Do you need Darcy to look you in the eye and say I'm 100% right? Because clearly, if he's coming off the ground, if he can't do that, you can't be one short in a big final. So if he can't guarantee you that, then do you take the risk with him?
Well, no one can guarantee that they're going to get through a game, especially when you're playing at the top end. So, but Darcy has had a history, but I don't think there's any doubt. We've had him jump over hurdles, and he was ready to play that game on the weekend. Felt like he wasn't capable of completing the game, and at that point, the Docs made the call to put him on ice for the game, and I think that it wasn't a bad introduction, to be honest. He played 85-90 minutes of football, first time 6 weeks off a hamstring, and we did sort of bring him forward a little bit to give him that game and give him a little bit of time to understand where his body is at, take the next couple of weeks and jump in. So we fully expect that that'll be the case.
Is it a physical thing, or is there a chance it's a mental thing?
It's clearly a physical issue, and he just hasn't been able to get real continuity with his body. And I mean, the guys that have played know how challenging that can be. The soft tissue stuff is a consideration and is an issue. This time last year, he was in a much worse situation than he is at the moment. So we're really optimistic and bullish about what Darcy can bring for us. There's unknowns in everything, but I've got no doubt that Darcy will give it everything that he's got.
Steel side bottom play?
I've never had a ruptured testicle.
Tim has.
Have you? Yeah. What would you suggest, Tim?
I missed
Was it on the football field?
Yes, it was on the football field. Yeah. I missed one game. Oh, well, I missed one game. But
did you play with a cricket box?
Sorry?
Did you play with a box?
No. That wasn't even suggested at the time. It was a good idea, but it's a bit late. So are you expecting him to play?
Yeah.
To be okay?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
The reports we've got back, I think Scott Thompson was only last year.
Missed 1 week,
earlier in the year, 13 days post-surgery.
Yep.
And Steve Silvani apparently was told he was going to miss 6 to 8 and toughened up and missed 2, played with a cricket box, he reckons, and should have only missed the 1. But I think Steele runs a little bit more than those two boys, so potentially that's an issue, but I think you walk around like a Texan for a little while, and then
Why do we always laugh
then
about
it
stuff like that?
comes good pretty quick.
Does it have to be AFL approved, the cricket box? Or
Probably. Actually, we'll get Cloaky on that.
Nathan, you, in that doco, which I haven't seen, but you say we were a chest-beating club, we were arrogant. What was that in reference to?
No, it was about being chest-beating and arrogant.
Is that about what you discovered in the review, or what period of time?
No. It's just, I think our boys right now. I won't go back, but what I will talk about is the fact that I'm as proud of the football club as I ever have been. I think I sat in this place about 12 months ago and said the same thing. I think our players have got their heads screwed on right. They really look after one another. They're respectful of their opportunity in the game. They really support each other. I think they have a real understanding that they represent a larger group of people, and they're very fortunate to be in that position. We have visitors come into our environment from the outside and leave, just glowing of our players with the way that they embrace them, the way that they invite them in and make them feel welcome around the place. So, as I said, I've been a part of this club for a long time, and I don't think it's ever been in as good a shape as it is, has been over the last couple of years, and that's hard earned, and it's a credit to everyone in the environment to be able to put that together.
Bucks, 4 coaches have been sacked this year. It seems to me it's an environment that we create as part of the media that's almost untenable in some ways for coaches. You lose 3 or 4 games and your head's on the chopping block. Are you feeling that more than ever? You've faced as much of it as anyone.
I think that there is a lot of expectation from outside, and a lot of that is not misguided, but you don't have the full information. And I think there are definitely some sackings. And I don't. Has there ever been an amicable senior coach club sort of will go our different ways now? Brad Scott tried it, but there's always some of those decisions that are actually the correct decisions. There's some that are brought on by pressure, external pressure, or ultimately the performance or the belief in the direction isn't going the right way, or a difference of opinion between the board and the coaching group or the senior coach. But I think clubs are getting better at making the right appointments at the right time, but that doesn't last forever. Nothing does. So I think that churn is part of the industry. There's no doubt that it occurs at senior coaching level, assistant coaching level, in the administration. But only the people that are in the clubs actually have all the information to make the decision, and even then, they might not be right. But they've got to stand up for what they believe in and be strong in their opinion.
Brodie Grundy in contract negotiations, a lot of talk about offers.
Yeah.
Tom's gone with 7 years from 3 or 4 different clubs.
Yeah.
Collingwood only offering 3.
Yeah.
Can that destable, obviously, going into a finals campaign, or are you across all of that? Do you speak to Brodie about those types of things?
How long have we been speculating on Brodie's contract for?
Yeah, a while.
How long have we? About a year? About this year?
Oh, well, no, it's heated up over the last probably 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah. I reckon he's doing pretty well. He's playing pretty good
well.
footy.
Yep. Has it affected him yet?
I reckon.
Would you like to sign him on an extended deal if that was your sole decision?
I think we love Broads, and Broads loves Collingwood. I've got no doubt that this will be a match made in heaven for the rest of his career. There's a lot of speculation on term, level of contract, etc., what he may be looking for, what we may be looking for. Not all of it is accurate, and we don't feel the need to lay it all bare for the public to see. What I will say is I've got no doubt that we'll come to terms. He is contracted till the end of next year. But I think Broads' DNA is as much a part of Collingwood as Collingwood's DNA is a part of his.
Just to put the Grundy discussion to one side, do you think it's a prudent thing for any football club to enter into a long-term deal, like a 7-year deal or contract with the player?
Well, I think it depends on... It really does depend on the price that you're prepared to pay, because it does lock up a lot of your salary cap. Now, I don't run the salary cap. Ned Guy's our guy, and he's come into the role and doing it really well. Relationships with managers, respectful and honest with the playing group. We saw Jordan De Goey sign on, just over 12 months ago for a lot less than he could have got elsewhere, because he understands that he owes the club something in some regards. It's a give and take relationship, but he owes the club something in some regards. The players that have supported him and led him along the journey, and he loves the place. So he's done that. We've had other players take pay cuts, not some public, some not, to manage and manipulate the salary cap to keep together. I've got no doubt that Rhodes understands that, and part of staying a little bit agile and being able to do that is not being locked into these big chunk deals, which can be problematic for some.
Geelong have been pretty strong, Chris Scott and their president, that they think that Richmond and Collingwood have an unfair advantage playing home finals at the MCG. What do you make of that debate?
I've been aware of it. We play down at Cardinia Park or GMHBA if that's what the AFL dictated. We're playing a qualifying final. The stakes are pretty high, but it's like the rules of the game. You just play to the rules. So we understand that we'll play wherever the game is scheduled. But having said that, we're not disappointed that Geelong are hosting us at the G.
Do you think it's fair, though, that the fact that the MCG, for example, does have the grand final every year? Do you think we should review that?
I'm happy for the powers that be to have a look at that. I've always seen it as a bit of a neutral ground. I mean, it's our home ground, but we play a lot of our home games against other teams that the MCG is their home ground. So I suppose we give up a little bit of our home ground advantage during the year and in finals when we play against other sides that actually have that ground as their home. So I think there's probably some clubs that have a distinct home ground advantage, and I can understand why they'd want to see that go into finals.
Such as Geelong.
Yeah.
Tommy Brown standing by, desperate to get in with some social media questions. Tommy, what have you got for the Coach the Pies?
Thanks, Das. Bucks, this from Josh Mamara. Will Jamie Elliott's role in the forward line change when Steve-O and De Goey return?
Likely to mix and match. I think Jamie played a considerable amount of time actually on the wing last week, and we've given him bits and bobs there. So I noticed that Dermy was suggesting
trade him,
suggesting that he's the third banana. Well, we'll take that. It's good to have a third banana like Jamie, but I think that what Dermy missed is that Jamie has always had midfield scope. He just hasn't had the continuity in his football to be able to do that. 3 or 4 years ago, when he was putting his best football together, he played a considerable amount of time as a high forward or as a wingman. And I know that he has that scope. Jaden Stevenson has that scope, and obviously Geordie can go in the midfield. So I reckon we can fit them all in.
Bucks, Aidan Shivers has asked, do you see an issue with the way you train or with your help down at the club, considering the last couple of years being riddled with soft tissue injuries?
Thanks, Aidan.
You think I drafted that?
Sounds a bit like Tommy Brown, that one, I'll be honest.
That's a Tommy Brown question.
Knee Brown. We definitely are looking to improve our injury profile. I think this year's been a little bit overblown. Like ruptured testicle, like knees, shoulders. We've had a lot of impact injuries. Obviously, Steve-O with the gambling suspension, which is an integrity issue and not an injury at all. Taylor Adams with with the groin stuff. So I mean, we've had a few that have been Aishi with his shoulder. We've had probably more than our fair share of impact injuries. Our soft tissue numbers are actually a lot better this year than last. So I think we need to sort of read between the lines and between have a look at the fine print to actually look at that. But as a senior coach, you want 45 players available for 23 weeks of the home and away season, and you don't always get that.
And Bucks, a lighter one to finish with. Who at the club thinks they're funny but really aren't?
Well, that's probably me. Just ask Chris Scott, the doyen of comedy.
Can I just quickly before you go, news comes through that one of your players has played Division 3 basketball under the name Phil Enders. Is there some humour initially with that, or do you go, you're kidding me?
No, there wasn't a lot of humour in that. There wasn't a lot of. So Channel 7, your station, your employer thought it was a good idea to put Phil in the missing players.
I saw that on Friday night. Did you appreciate that or not?
So we are now slapstick broadcasting.
Well, maybe we think we're funnier than we are as well, Bucks, potentially.
Well, a lot of people got a lot of cut through. But look, Braden is a young player who is still learning what it takes at the AFL level, and he has the talent to play, there's no doubt, as most listed AFL players do, but it takes more than talent. So, and he has worked hard at various times to earn his opportunities, and we think he's got a lot of growth in him. But I don't reckon there's a player that's played that hasn't made a blue periodically. It's just that they're laid particularly bare in today's social media environment, where and these guys are too good. You just can't get anything past them.
Bucks, you got a double chance, live list ready to go in the finals. Good luck for the rest of the year.
Thanks, gents.
Great to catch up with the coach of the Magpies. Inside